many of you all, I got into the custom keyboard hobby right when the borders all closed, and my very first custom keyboard was the Voice 65 by Owlab. Incidentally, it was also the first board that Owlab made. If you're new to the hobby, you've probably heard of the more prominent boards such as the Jelly, Stud, and the Spring. Fast forward to today, and I no longer have the Voice 65 due to a multitude of reasons, and Owlab have no intention of making a revision to their very first 65%. With that said, however, they did release this rather recently, the Voice Mini, which pays homage to their roots. And all I've got to say is that it brings back fond memories. For a start, the Voice Mini is a 7-key macro pad which comprises 6 1-unit keys and a single ISO enter key. The overall design is downright the same as the original Voice 65, which means you get the sandwich style frame that reveals the middle structure, and you get that same scroll wheel on the right side complete with an LED bar. Move to the bottom and you will see the small little weight with a cute design that carries on the music and band motif that spurred the inspiration for the Voice 65 and now the Voice Mini. You do also get the standard Type-C up top, but this small little micropad can also be used wirelessly thanks to the built-in battery. Toggling it on and off might be a bit of a hassle, but you don't really have to mess with it that often. Now, I went with the crimson colorway, which I think looks absolutely stunning, but the Voice Mini was made in a variety of colors that would certainly appeal to quite many of you. I went with crimson because I like the color red, and also because, well, I failed to get the Voice 65 in a Lunar New Year Red edition back then, so I guess I'm kind of coping here. Anyways, let's quickly get this built. For this, I went with my favorite linear switch of all time, Queens. These have a red transparent housing with a PC top and nylon bottom alongside a black palm stem and features an extremely long 3-stage spring. That spring is what makes this really unique, and there's nothing else quite like it as far as I've experienced. As for the single 2-unit stabilizer, I will be using Stabi's version 2 since I have a spare lying around. Like with most of my other linear switches, I tend to use Tribosys 3204 for the housing and Crydox 105G0 for the spring. There really isn't a surefire way to ensure a good lubrication job, so all I can say is practice makes perfect, and less is always more. And since I've only 7 switches to work with, I decided why not throw in some desk key films as well. With the switches settled, it's time to tear down the Voice Mini and prep the stabilizer. But it was at this point in time that I was met with a hurdle. I couldn't really get the scroll wheel to detach even after using much force. So at this point of the build, I decided to just not install the stabilizer, which is actually one of the official ways to build it, mind you. So let's just chuck those stabies away. So I reassembled the Voice Mini and we are back to square one, except with loop switches now. From here on out, it's honestly really simple. Just insert the switches into the hot swap PCB and throw on some keycaps of your choice and you're done. And so here's the final build in all its glory. Honestly, I love it. It brings back my joy and love for the original Voice 65 design, but in a much more refined package. Now sure, this isn't a 65%, but the overall build quality is leaps and bounds better compared to the Voice 65, and thanks to the use of PE foam and a much more tightly constructed chassis, it sounds amazing without any hollowness or ping. But perhaps more useful would be that scroll wheel, which defaults to volume control in Windows with increments of ±2, and that compact LED bar seals the deal. Moreover, it is a wireless macro pad. Now, are there any caveats? Well, I can really only think of 2. As this uses a wireless PCB, it's only compatible with QK's own configurator and not VR, but that's not really a big issue per se, more of a pet peeve really. The main caveat here would probably be the same fact that haunts the entire custom keyboard hobby at large. It's the fact that you can't really buy this directly from Owlab any longer. If you're looking to get a Voice Mini right now, you'll likely have to scour the aftermarket. As long as you can grab it near the original price of $70 US, this is very well worth it. I mean, it's so nifty and cute that it's kind of hard to pass up in the first place. For me, it's more than just a simple macro pad, but even if it's not, the Voice Mini certainly is a really nice addition to any desk setup.